I'm not surprised about anything. Congratulations.
You guys got it soft and cushy. This place is freaking awesome. The people are awesome. Your boss is nice. Everybody seems to get along.
Everything's great. Looking forward to getting back to the racetrack.
God, I am never gonna financially recover from this.
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys really appreciated that intro video. Been putting a whole lot of budget and time and effort into this channel to make it as high quality as I can for you guys, and I think it's really showing in the production value of these intro videos here lately. But enough of that. Today we're here to discuss the topic that really should be getting discussed for months and years now. RCR is in decline. Or rather, Richard Childress is just realizing that they are.
Are you stupid or are you deaf?
Just kidding about the Richard Childress part. Now, from somebody that's been a fan of Richard Childress and RCR for better part of 20-25 years now, that's not my main team, but I've always been, very supportive of him and his team, going back to the Dale Earnhardt Sr. days, rolling through there with the single car team for the longest time, and just seeing how they've progressed over the past 5 to 10 years is really just sad. Really, since the Kevin Harvick 2014 championship up until now, where hell, getting a top 10 is just such a huge triumph nowadays. It's really just a little bit sad. And the icing on the cake is hearing Richard Childress get on the radio of Kyle Busch after the race. He finished 11th. He was fighting in the top 10 for a good majority of the day, had some issues during the race, and he says this.
Gotta get some race cars. We are in trouble. Period.
Obviously, it's kind of like, yeah, no shit. Been kind of seeing this for a while now. Didn't have anything go on last year besides the huge issue that happened in Richmond with his grandson, Austin Dillon. And the only thing they were successful really at doing was giving Kyle Busch his first year without winning a race, at least ruining his streak. Now, it would be ignorant to everyone to say that Richard is just now realizing that their once powerful team is now mid at best, but damn, is it hilarious to hear it said out loud to his best running car of all cars. Seriously, when are we going to talk about Dillon moving to a more executive role on that team? Now, as I'm watching the race and then it comes out, I turn it off a little bit after the finish to go and get a drink. And then afterwards, I'm seeing on Twitter, everybody's popping off, oh my God, Richard Childress, he's just now coming to the realization that his team is failing. And I hear that recording, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of like we need to get our shit together kind of thing. And he's right, we do. But, dude, it's been this way for years now. Really ever since Tyler Reddick left, which is, kind of a weird point of contention. Whenever he left 2022, after that, they signed Kyle Busch. I believe Reddick had a few wins there. That was really the highlight of Richard Childress Racing, at least in the past few years. That was one of the better seasons that they had. Then they bring in Kyle Busch, which at the time, myself and others included, thought it was a huge win for Richard Childress Racing. I couldn't believe it. And Kyle Busch, of all people, after the altercations that they've had in the past, Richard that is, with Kyle Busch, and then for him to sign with RCR, it was crazy to me. I thought he was going to go out, win a bunch of races after seeing how well Tyler Reddick was running, and I thought, well, Kyle Busch is better than Tyler Reddick. If he's winning 3 races, surely Kyle Busch is going to go out there and win 5 and 6 and contend, and then it's just going to make Austin Dillon look even worse. But that's really not what happened. Kyle Busch is kind of a shell of a driver that he was. I love Kyle Busch. I used to hate him, but I'm really rooting for the guy. I really am. And I really want to see this team turn it around. Looking at what Brad Keselowski did with RFK, we need some kind of mix up there. And I don't know if the answer is moving Austin Dillon to more of an executive role and bringing somebody else in. At this point, if I was RCR, and I understand that Kyle Busch, he may be looking around at this point. I'm not sure if he's going to jump ship, go somewhere else. Maybe 2311 will pick him up. I think that would be really neat to see, although I think that they're going to get Corey Heim. Seeing Kyle Busch maybe leave, Austin Dillon leave, if that ever does happen, I think they need to start fresh, man. I really do. And seeing them bring in somebody, maybe like a Daniel Suarez, or bringing up some of their people from the Xfinity Series, like their Austin Hills and Jesse Loves, I think that's something they just need to look at this point. I do think there's a lot of talented people that they could possibly go out there and get. One name that comes to mind is Connor Zilisch, going out and getting somebody like him. I think that he's super talented, although that he does have ties to Trackhouse Racing. And they did get rid of Daniel Suarez, and one can only assume that's going to be for Connor Zilisch. But what do you guys think that they could possibly do? I know their intentions were bringing in Kyle Busch to help revamp this team and bring in this more mature driver and help elevate the team. It just hasn't happened. I really think they need to shake things up. Maybe just wipe the board completely clean with what they have and bring some fresh blood in and really get this thing rolling. You know, you look at Austin Dillon's some of his best finishes that he's ever had in the Cup Series at the end of the season, and he hasn't ever finished in the top 10. Now, he's had some where he's finished 11th. You look back at his career 2022, 2020, 2017. He finished 11th in all of those. And he hasn't won. He won last year, hasn't won this year, didn't win in 2023. It's really, really spotty. It seems like every 3 years he wins a race here and there. But the points finishes the last few years. Right now he's 28th. He finished 32nd in 2024, 29th in 2023. And in 2022, he finished 11th. And that's whenever Tyler Reddick was there. I really feel like Tyler Reddick just made that team so much better. And unfortunately, looking at some of the reports that came out, is that RCR just wasn't really wanting to keep Tyler Reddick, and he went somewhere else. Now, whether that's true or not, we heard that on Door Bumper Clear, that was one of the issues, was that he had every intention to stay, but RCR didn't see it that way. So he moved on to 2311, and honestly, his career's just exploded since he went there. So it's wild to think about bringing in somebody like Kyle Busch. They take a step back over the past 3 years. And there's been a ton of issues with RCR lately. Now, they do make their own engines in-house, and there's been a lot of issues with those engines. The drivers have complained about power. A lot of those engines, though they do go to Trackhouse, they've had engine failures as well. So I don't know if there's maybe a possibility of them going to a different engine builder, like, say, knocking on the door of Rick Hendrick. I don't even think that's a possibility at this point. They've been building their own engines for years, decades even, and they've been a powerhouse with the engine department for a while. That used to be a point that they made, was how strong their engines were, especially on the super speedways. The RCR engines just dominated. It was insane. And now that's a big point of contention. They can't get that figured out. They are just fighting and clawing just to run into the top 10. And poor Kyle Busch, man, he's had his opportunities. He's been up there running in the top 5, top 10, and stupid things continue to happen. Or the car just goes away. It just fades like crazy. So much so that the TV's just watching him, just dumping spots. He's freaking out on the radio. And then Richard Childress gets on at the end of the race, and he's like, we got to get a better car, guys. I don't know what's going on. We got to figure this out. So maybe he's starting to feel a little bit of pressure, knowing that this is the best opportunity he's had with Kyle Busch to possibly go out there and win another championship, which hasn't happened in over a decade now at this point, and he is slowly watching that future dwindle away. Because at the end of the day, if Kyle Busch leaves, he'll be left with his grandson, Austin Dillon, who's in the second half of his career at this point, and I honestly don't think he's going to really get much better, especially seeing some of the upcoming talent that we're going to be having. And then who do you bring in after that, after Kyle Busch? If he does end up staying for a couple more years, what's going to happen after that? What is the plan afterwards? You have Jesse Love down in the Xfinity Series, who I love. I think he's going to be great. Maybe Austin Hill can move up into the Cup Series, although I don't know. I'm more of a Jesse Love fan. I'm a little bit more bullish on him. So they have people in the Xfinity Series that they could move up. Will they actually do it? Time will tell. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What are some fixes that RCR could possibly do to make the team better? Or are they just all around screwed? And do you feel bad for Kyle Busch at all? Should he jump ship at the end of this year, or should he stay and somehow make this team better? And what are those fixes they could possibly make? Thank you all so much for checking out this video. We'll be back here in the next couple of days with some teasers for this weekend. But again, thank you guys as always, and we'll see you on the next one.